Peace, love, and light, everyone. This is Mizana, and welcome to Sacred Medicines. So, today we're working with the throat chakra, standing in your truth, being responsible for what you say. And so, let's start off with where it's located. It's located in our throat. This is the throat chakra, and it is blue in color, and it is standing in our truth. It's our ability to communicate. And when I say it's our ability to communicate, I'm not just speaking about having conversation with someone else, but I'm also speaking about communicating to ourselves. How do we speak to ourselves? And also, how do we speak to others? Are we sensitive? Do we give words of healing, sacred medicine, or are we spewing venom? How do we leave a situation after we have had a disagreement? Do you leave the situation in chaos, or do you speak your truth and leave the conversation in a healing manner, meaning asking if everyone understands what you say, um, whether or not they have anything else to add to the conversation, being open to what others have to say. So, this communication also deals with listening. And how do we listen? Do we listen in a resistant stance and mood, or way of arming our bodies? Do we listen with an open heart, not looking at the person or the behavior that they are exhibiting, but seeing the spirit that is within them? So your spirit sees their spirit, and it's a communication. Instead of putting up the resistance of, I don't like how they're standing, I don't like their tone, I don't like how they're looking at me, and so therefore I'm on guard. I'm also ready to fight, that fight or flight, that sympathetic state. Instead, approach the situation differently. This throat chakra deals not just communication of words, but dealing with a situation in a certain way, receiving information and looking at where it applies to you. And if it doesn't, let it go. So even though what they're saying may be for them something about you or the way you are, stand in your truth. You know you are not like that. So therefore, don't allow those words to penetrate you, because once that happens, then other things are also tapped into, and your response is that not of medicine. So, this idea of our ability to communicate leaves us with a responsibility. And as you may have heard me say before, responsibility is the ability to respond rather than react. So it leaves us with a responsibility to not only stand in our truth, but stand in our truth in a sensitive way, so that we are sensitive to the individual and also sensitive to our feelings. It also says to stand in our truth and be prepared that what they may say to you could possibly be a trigger. So don't put up the resistance, but relax, but be prepared to speak your truth. And even if your truth is that you would rather not have the conversation, that's fine. they're not controlling you. So you can pause and you can walk away, or you can pause and give yourself a moment to relax, or you can pause to think. But standing in your truth is bringing you right here in this here and now so that you know how to respond. You're not responding from history, you're not responding from the projected future. You're standing here in your truth in the here and now. So, how you receive things, knowing that you're making a decision, a choice, knowing that the person that is standing in front of you, they're talking about their perception, and it has nothing to do with your perception or how you're feeling. But here's the other thing about standing in your truth. You sometimes need to hear your voice, especially if you are a person that normally suppresses their feelings. You need to hear yourself say certain things. So be sure that when you're standing in your truth, you're saying to the other person, um, I'm not ready to listen to that, or what you're seeing is not how I see myself, or whatever it is. Hear yourself give some words of kindness about you, and also a protection. Hear yourself, protect yourself, so that when you stand in your truth, you're just not standing there taking the information, but you're also doing, what you need to do to heal yourself. So, and always, always, always give words of medicine, think words of medicine, and think, speak, and do sacred medicine always. So when you respond and you're responding, um, make sure you're not spewing venom. So the color is blue, and it's located in the throat, as I said before. And the emotional issues are communication, self expression of feelings, and also the truth. And so the truth doesn't necessarily mean that you're intentionally lying, but because you have suppressed your voice, or maybe you are a very um, witted person, and people oftentimes think your wit to be something of disrespect. So sometimes you have to take a breath and hold on, ground in. And so it may be that you're practicing that and people see that as a weakness. So speaking your truth is talking about what you're feeling and why you're doing what you're doing, showing that you know yourself, your authentic self. And so, therefore, you can give information about you and not allow someone else to give you information about you. The reason that is important is because sometimes other people give us their narrative. And in giving us their narrative, we wholeheartedly take that information and use it and internalize it. And that information begins to work a process within ourselves that sometimes lead us to information that is not true. And we grow. This information grows within us, and next thing you know, we have so owned that we behave as such. That's not your truth. That's not who we really are. So make sure that who you think you are, go in and make sure you peel that onion and look within those layers and ask the question, who am I? That was the question of the day, by the way. Who am I? Who am I? Am I this aggressive person? Where did I get that aggression from? Is that aggression serving my highest good? Peel the onion and tap into your authentic self. Don't take someone else's narrative and apply it to you. That is not who you are. So you'll always hear me say that we are spiritual beings walking the earth in human form, or we are spiritual beings living life in human form. And so it is the human form that is challenged, not the spiritual being. The spiritual being knows who they are. Like they don't, it's not about this, but it's the human form that's challenged. So because of challenges that we are all experiencing and the way in which we handle the situation, leads it to turn out a certain way. And because my experience was like that, it doesn't mean that your experience is going to be like that. So because I see someone and I may see them in a light that is different than who they really are, but it's up to you to stand in your truth and tell me who you are, and not just by words, but also by behaviors, by actions, by medicine. So this whole truth thing goes very, very deep within our soul, because at our core, we are nothing but light and energy, and that is always truthful. There's no such thing as an untruthful energy in its purest form. So, keeping that in mind, know that the physical associations with the throat chakra is the thyroid, the respiratory system, teeth, and vocal cords. So if you find that you have a weakness in any of those areas, it isn't because it doesn't always, well, it can mean that you need to say something. You need to clarify. Uh, you need to hear yourself say. You need to speak truth. When we speak the truth, also, we have a responsibility. And the responsibility is to make sure that we're being as clear as possible. And the other person's responsibility is to ask us any questions around where there's doubt. So we both have a role. And when you give information and you know that you're giving it as clearly as possible, know that that is your perception. So when the person comes back and asks a question, that's when you have the opportunity of being as clear again as you possibly can. So this whole idea of the truth also goes in many different directions. So this throat chakra is one that we need to look at when we're looking at how we want to change our life, what type of lifestyle change we would like to involve ourselves in, but also speaking our truth to that would be making that commitment and sticking to it. Oftentimes, we don't do that. We make commitments and let them fall by the way, and we just move on with our lives. What that's doing is writing within us that we're not credible. with ourselves, that we lie to ourselves. So speaking the truth also means when you make a commitment to yourself to follow through with it. So again, this whole throat chakra, speaking your truth thing, goes in very many directions. And so today is Thursday, and the um, the spiritual law of the day is the law of intention and desire. And so it says, inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Make a list of desires. Trust that when things don't seem to go your way, a reason, because sometimes we'll say we want, and then when we don't get, we get so disappointed and we get so angry and we get so sad. And what we're not seeing is the bigger picture, because we can't see the bigger picture. We can't see that this thing that we desired for may take us in a direction that is not good for us. So because we can't see it, if we don't get it, we become disappointed and sad. But when you live a lifestyle of surrendering to the universe, surrender, allow, and trust, SAT, surrender, allow, and trust. When you surrender to the universe, all those things that were problems that you worry about, the way you manage your life, the way you manage yourself, the way you manage your thoughts, it was crazy. But when you start living this certain lifestyle, what happens is that you understand, I have no control, so let me surrender. And you surrender, and it's like a load is taken off. And when you live that lifestyle, you live so free. And so when you hear me say, may all beings free themselves from suffering, that is also what I'm talking about, because we put this load on ourselves. We don't live a simple lifestyle. We complicate it. So that's the human form. And so I want you to trust that the universe has your back. And when you don't seem to get what you want when you want it, don't become upset or frustrated or sad. Instead, say thank you. Showing gratitude and giving gratitude lightens the heart and takes away whatever low energy you're feeling. So say thank you. So I know this video is going to be a little bit longer, but let me finish up by saying the color of the throat chakra is blue. The stones for use for the areas of communication, clarity, self-expression, and truth. And specific stones are angelite, amazonite, blue calcite, blue lace agate, blue kyanite. And blue kyanite, you can use blue kyanite for all of your chakras. That's one stone that you can use for your whole chakra system, and you don't have to worry about cleansing it. Blue topaz, sodalite, and turquoise, my favorite one of. And so the affirmation for the throat chakra would be, I express myself freely. I express myself freely. I relieve myself of all suffering. I am free to be my authentic self. I am free to give sacred medicine. I am greatness. And when it needs balancing, you cannot express yourself but don't just look in the area of vocally expressing yourself. Look at maybe you wrote poetry and all of a sudden, the words aren't coming. Or you find sometimes people uh, often will say, I don't understand what you're saying, or I can't read you, I don't read you well. So that's when you know that that chakra is a little bit off and you need to pay close attention to it. It may that not be that it's all the way off, but it may be something that you need to look into. And that's it. So today's Thursday. Today is the throat chakra. Tomorrow would be Ajna, the third eye, and peace, love, and light. If I told you about cleansing the stones and how to do it, and you can do it with intention. You can do it with smoke. You can do it with water. You get some stones. You can do it with moonlight. You can do it with sunlight. So don't don't get too crazy. Am I, should I, whatever. Make the stone your own, and you'll know when it's time to cleanse it and what it wants you to do. Should I, when you ask the question, should I put you on the windowsill for sun? And you just get like this feeling that's saying like, no, that's not for me. And then you know that maybe you can put it in the window for moonlight. So don't make a big deal. Don't make a big deal of it. And that's it. So subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And also, if you're viewing this on my Facebook page, I want you to tell a friend and make comments. My YouTube, make comments as well. I love comments. So enjoy. Please be safe and tell a friend. Peace, love, and light. Ashe, aho, amen.